Hey everybody, I hope your week is going well. So we've had a little bit of a dip in the market here. We're going to take a look at what we're actually looking at. So last week I mentioned that this was a bullish hammer candle, and then you had a bullish engulfing candle closing to a new high. So this candle could have came down to 68,000. I would have expected this to actually come up here, and it has not yet. So hopefully by the end of the week this actually gets bought up, and then we close some kind of more bullish candle, because if it closes like this, that's kind of voids both of these two candles. um, the only problem, so the weekly could cross to the downside here below the 80, which is really not a good thing. You really don't want to be seeing um, that if you want to continue to go up, right? So you could have a cross down and then recross back to the upside. But we've been going up here for quite a while, so we kind of need to consolidate or something, right? We haven't built too much structure since this area right here, and we haven't really tested any kind of structure. So at any time you can come back down to retest this. So just keep that in mind. We are way up here on the RSI as well, but we haven't seen any kind of weekly divergence. So what could happen is just a correction right before the halving. You could see, we've had, I guess, 30% pullbacks, and that's pretty much all we've had, 20 to 30%. And then you just could see that all the way to the top, whether we have our first top up here, or we end up actually breaking through this going higher. So you could just see 20% up, 20% up, kind of like this bull market over here. You had 20-30% pullbacks up, 40% or whatever that is, 50% up, 40% up. You can see that instead of doing something like this. But the only reason why I kind of feel like we're going to do something like this, probably without the COVID part, just maybe a really long correction, is just because we're way above the price for the halving. I think the price for the halving should be around like 40,000 or something like that. So we're just way up there. So that's kind of why I was thinking we'd see a longer pullback. A lot of the altcoins still haven't ran, like XRP, XLM, LTC. So I really would expect those would run before we would start any kind of long-term correction. But that is also just kind of speculating. Long-term cycle, we still have like probably a year in this cycle. So sometime around within this box area in time is where we would probably top. So whatever happens between now and then, I do expect a lot higher price. Let's actually take a look. So I did post something about silver. Now, I know this is all crypto and whatnot, but I just kind of wanted to point this out. It's always good to have a diverse portfolio, and silver is something that, silver is used in a lot of like tech, like computers and phones and all kinds of stuff. And if they end up building more robots in the future, I believe they use silver in those too. So silver can be a very positive thing whenever it comes to that. So you just have a very large cup here, and then you have a handle. So I draw out the handle here. This is kind of the way to really do it. So you've got your cup, and then this is your actual handle right here. And then this little thing right here is from the top of the cup to the bottom. Whether you take the high point or you take the lowest part of the cup there. So I put it on the lowest point, but if you put it at the top, it's like 150 or so. So that's just kind of conservative. So whenever you're approaching 150, that's whenever you would want to look for divergence and everything like that within the chart and the weekly. And that's just the way how this stuff works. Okay, these are probably fib targets I drew in a while back. Probably didn't pay attention to the cup and handle whenever I was looking at this, but that is how you chart technical analysis. Let's look and see if the grand Fibonacci actually shows a target here. So I mean that's pretty close, 135. So you probably have a little bit of a wick through it. I'm sure you could look at a monthly and maybe not use some wicks or something, and it would show a better target. Yeah, so right at 150. Oh, actually no, that's 100. Yeah, I would use this instead. So that shows 140. So you draw a little box right there, right? I said it could take 10 years because from even this wave 1 bottoming, I mean, that was 2001 and it didn't top until like 2011. So like the bottom of 1, 2020, so you'd see like 2030 or something like that. But from this point, that's still $400 and something percent. So that's a whole lot for silver. But I wanted to use it as a teaching example. Again, it's good to have a diverse portfolio within metals, stocks, crypto. Even within crypto, you'd have Bitcoin and then some altcoins, right? And then you'd also have maybe some commodities or whatever you wanted. Once you kind of diversify your portfolio down the line, or if you've already been doing that, depending on your age. So I just want to show that cool little deal. Gold has also made new highs and it's doing pretty well. But let's look at some more crypto. So there are a couple coins I'm looking at purchasing. So Flare Network is one that I kind of want to buy. I don't have cash to purchase this now, but if it does pull back, I would actually start to buy this. So in a lot of these charts, it's showing this big cup here, right? This isn't really let's see if I can find another chart. Well, so they all pretty much look like this. So once this breaks out here, you'd probably have a cup and handle, right? If I put this down to like a weekly. Yeah, so you have a little bit of a cup and handle right here. Either that or you've got an inverse head and shoulders, so your left shoulder, right here. This target would pretty much be the same, right? So bring this down here to the breakout point, and this goes up pretty close to 20 cents or so. I'm gonna calm my son down 1 second. He's on virtual reality set, and he's just having the time of his life with that thing all day, every day. Okay, so you've got this lower volume pullback. You've got green volume growing within the bottom. It's not really picking up here, but it could still end up picking up. So that is something I'm looking at potentially buying. It might actually break out here. So if that's something if I had extra cash, I'd probably be accumulating it right now. I did not buy this down here. However, everything is already up several 100%, 400% or so. This is up from the very bottom. It's probably 400, but very few people buy that. So you could have your first wave here, and then you're moving into wave 3. Okay, the market cap I think is like 2 billion or something like that, if I get that correct. And a lot of these coins at the end of the cycle will be $40 billion. So that's one of them. There is another one that came out that's I was looking at too. It's fairly new. This is another one that has a really small market cap. I'm going to keep an eye on this one. And this is a Uniswap one. Market cap's super low on this one, but we'll look back at that one here pretty soon. And there was another one, Wormhole. Wormhole. This one just released also. And guys, there's so many different coins out there. There's a ridiculous amount of coins. So we're not going to get them all, right? You don't want to get them all. A lot of the ones that we had last cycle, they're kind of starting to go up. Some of them didn't do very good. Some of them did really, really well. And you're just not going to be able to get them all. And it's hard to chart all of them, and it gets very complicating, especially for me. But there are some that will do really well. Like, for example, this one's probably going to do really well, right? Do I have the money to put it in this one? No. Do I want to chase this whenever it's doubled the price? No. Even if it 10x's from there. I don't want to be chasing stuff. So the market cap is $2 billion already. It's recently been released. The volume is incredible. It's almost the market cap. It's on Solana. So if Solana corrects, this will correct most likely, and then we can pick it up at a cheaper price. Now, we can also look at the volume and see kind of what happens once it has released, or once it pulls back, and kind of see what's going on. And there's Flare Network right there. And I think Flare was an airdrop from XRP a while back. I feel like I might have some Flare from the airdrop. I thought I did actually do that airdrop, but I'll have to look at it. I think we actually talked about it in the Telegram. Let me see. Search. Coinbase airdrop plus trading pair. I posted that about the Flare network a while back. It says if you had XRP on Coinbase in 2020 during the snapshot, you should be getting airdrop. So let me see if I have any Flare network. No, it doesn't look like I do, but it's on Coinbase. That one has a market cap of 1.5 billion. The volume is 10% of that. And then the other one I was looking at was Proppy. So PRO, these are like real estate coins. I think I might have looked at this the other day. Yeah, it looks like I did. And I mean, this one looks pretty good. So it's already up like 1,000%. However, the market cap's pretty low. It's like 200 million. Volume's coming in really good on Coinbase as well. So if this can get some kind of a correction here, it would be nice to get this back to $1, but I highly doubt that's going to happen. It might just hit this level and then start to run from there. And then I would expect 3 and then 4 and then 5. I think BlackRock is starting to invest. Yeah, that's what we talked about. BlackRock's starting to invest in some of these real estate coins, or at least that's what I've been seeing. So they might be a good option as well. Okay, so the most recent thing I bought was TFUEL. I bought it right where it's at now. I bought it on support, so that's what you want to be doing. Once the trend is changed and you've completed Dow theory, you reaccumulate within retests of support. Pretty much that's where we're at right now, so that's why I bought right there. We did get rejected from this point up here. It did have a really big day. Just looked like it was a pump and dump kind of, but might be getting rid of the longs or however that works. And then we're retesting support, so we should start to climb up. Could we come back down to this level of support? Yeah, and then I'd probably pick some more up. But remember that box I was talking about? So you have your first box here, and then your secondary box here. Maybe it goes all the way to this point, or if it's just right here, who really knows. And then you start to actually run up from there. Now, if I'm looking at this from like an Elliott wave perspective, I'm going to show you two different ways that this could play out. So we could have started our wave, well, there's actually quite a few different ways that this can play out. So normally you'd start one right here, right? So you could be having some kind of wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and wave 5, and then now we're doing an ABC correction, which could be A, B, C, right? And then you'd start wave 3 for the big move. Or we've already started, and this would actually be a lot cleaner of an account. or you could have done wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we just started. We did an ABC correction. Oops. Or we just started wave. We've been in this secondary wave, which 3, 4, and then 5, and then you'd have a correction and then the 5th wave to the upside. And your big count would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's a bunch of different ways that that can play out. It's hard to tell, but once the chart shows up, it's a lot easier to kind of judge where we're at in the cycle. So like for example over here you have 1, right? That was the big wave 1, and then you could count the waves here, and then your final wave of 5th wave right there. Elliott wave's just extremely helpful for knowing how high the chart is going to go. It's not 100%, but it works really, really well. Okay, so let's take a look at Litecoin. There's not a whole lot of coins to really look at. A lot of them are just kind of pulling back. So just if you're wanting to accumulate things, buying on support is typically the best option. So support for LTC is right where we're at now. So all of this support right here. Within these candles, that's kind of what we're testing right now. Once we break out of this 115 level, I think this is going to run pretty hard. You do have growing volume here, considering that is the biggest volume we've seen since, since like way over here. So that's kind of where we should be in the cycle. If you look at the volume there, volume just continued to grow and grow and grow, and that's what this one should do as well. That's just going to be, that's kind of the tough level right now. I'm not buying any more LTC. I have way too much, and I could have done a lot better if I would have just purchased some other coins. Hopefully this one just catches up. You know, it does have a tendency, it did in the last cycle, just to run really, really hard, and it's actually running against some of the other altcoins, so it's getting a lot more attention. So that's what you could see, just, you know, big green candles on LTC and then nothing else. It's just definitely, it's an older coin and it's lagging compared to a lot of the other tokens. But I don't think it's just going to go away, right? So it is running. Volume is increasing, so that's what you want to see. And then ICP. Okay, so ICP has its left shoulder, its big head here, and its right shoulder, and it's got a breakout. So maybe we come back down to retest this, maybe we don't, and then we just start to run. But this looks really, really good. I bought some, I think at $12 was the last buy that I've purchased on ICP. I think I moved a little bit of that SHIB trade in there, so that one's doing good while SHIB's been going down. But yeah, that does look pretty good. The weekly looks really bullish too. Yeah, let's see how this does. Looks pretty good. So I mean, your next level of resistance is about $40, but it can go about to $80. And we'll look at the chart then. ICP also has like some, so ICP is its protocol currency. There are some like decentralized exchanges, tokens attached to it. There's NFTs attached to it. There's a bunch of different stuff. There's a whole ecosystem for ICP. Okay, that covers ICP for the most part. It's just everything's pretty much a waiting game right now. Alright, so SHIB, let's take a look at SHIB, see what it's doing. Starting to get some bullish divergence on the RSI. I'm actually going to look at a different chart here. Okay, so you did have that bull flag here, right? And you have a breakout of that bull flag. Now you actually have another one. That's kind of how this works. So we're going to draw out another one here. So that would have been the entry for this one, right wherever this broke out, I think. But we've actually came down a little bit. And then your next one would be here. So if this doesn't pop from where it's at now, that would be your next level. And then a break of this and a retest. Longer term time frames work better, so the longer the pattern, the better it is. It's kind of like this one over here, right? It's not exact. This one's more of a pennant formation. But it is a little bit of a flag. Okay, and then you break out of it and then boom, right? Kind of what we're doing right here. It can go for quite a while. There's a lot more to this chart over here also. So this is just kind of the beginning of the cycle of SHIB. Oh, there are some tokens that are starting to show some short-term bearish patterns. So like ADA, for example, has a left shoulder, a head, a right shoulder, and then it would bring the price back down to support. And a lot of these coins are showing that currently. I looked at ADA. So some of them have like a Adam and Eve top short term. So it wouldn't surprise me if things kind of fell a little bit, but just if we fall significantly, that's just a buying opportunity in my opinion. Let me see if there was another one. BCH USD. I mean, just small. No, I wouldn't even count that one. Let's look at XRP. Yeah, so a lot of these have these left shoulders, this big head, and the right shoulder, and then that just kind of brings targets down a little bit, right? There were some Adam and Eve tops that I was looking at, but I don't see any currently. But again, BTC pulls back. A lot of these coins are just not going to perform. They're just all going to fall, and then we have to relook at everything. BTC goes up like crazy, then these will too. Bitcoin dominance, we haven't looked at that for a little while. Well, let me look. I'm going to look at it on my phone. For some reason it's not pulling it. Yeah, nothing new on BTC dominance. Nothing new happening there. Okay, guys. Well, that's all I've got for today. Y'all have a good week, and I will talk to y'all on the next